Hello there, my name is Heather. I'm one of the volunteers at Erskine Community Garden. I was hoping to do this from the garden, however the car is showing that it has an engine malfunction and therefore I'm trying to not go out so until that's fixed, which should be easily fixed. These things always happen at the worst times of the year, but hey, it's 2020, anything can happen anytime, as we've probably all experienced. This year started like every other year. You have plans, you have not resolutions, but you have a plan. You know pretty much what you're going to be doing, when you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it, until you get a pandemic. Now, regardless of the reasons why or how this started, we've all been affected by it, whether we've been unfortunately furloughed or made redundant, or like myself, I'm self-employed and I haven't been able to work for most of the last few months. But we all find our ways of doing things and coping with it, and that's probably the case with most or all of us. It's been a challenging year, more so for some people than others, and it's been a year of also realising just how good our neighbours are and how great our community is. There's so many people that want to help and do all sorts of great things. And it's just, thank you seems like such a simple way of saying it, but it's most heartfelt when we as a community group say thank you to everyone who has supported, not just this year, but since we got the ground at Barwood Park and started the garden on the 1st of July 2018. For me personally, that was quite a difficult or challenging time, because my dad actually died 19 days after we got the lease for the garden. And I have to say, the garden was an absolute blessing and godsend, because I was able to go there, do stuff, take my mind off things or process things, and just take myself out of that for a while. And I think that's what's resonated a lot with the garden over the last few months, and indeed the park itself as a whole. It's come into its own. People have gone there to think, they've gone there to just take a breather, to get a time out, to exercise in their daily exercise thing. And that's something that we had hoped the garden would be somewhere that people can go, can relax, and can just unwind and just let anything that is getting to them, take the breath in the fresh air, and listen to the birds. All of those birds, very cheeky birds, as we have discovered, is when the container doors are open, they like to go in and do their nosy. We do feed them now, they're part of the garden, they're part of the park, and they are part of our community family, just like all other wildlife. There's been challenges at the garden, obviously. We've had a couple of benches stolen, and Bruno's buddy bench disappeared in November, and we are working to fundraise for that. And we know this is a very difficult time for people to give any kind of donation, therefore we're not been pushing it. We will do this, we will get the bench replaced with something bigger, something more eye-catching, something more meaningful, not just for Bruno, but also for all the pets that we have that are sadly no longer with us. And that's what's been kind of important with Bruno's buddy bench. It was somewhere where you could just go sit, remember your pets. Even if you were just sitting there to take a break, you still felt there was something there with the buddy bench that was. And so that's why we want to make sure that this is replaced with something that makes a statement of that, while honouring Bruno and Bruno's legacy. The two other benches, the kids bench and the picnic bench, have been replaced by the unpaid work team, which we are hugely grateful for. They have done a fantastic job of replacing those. I'm sorry, I'm a fidget, so while I'm talking, so I'm fidgeting. I do apologise. And they also gave us 5 birdhouses, which we will get put up in the trees in the garden and the wider park area, but mostly in the garden. You've got lots of trees. The generosity of people, not just in donations and gifts and things for the garden, but also just in support, has been overwhelming, and just such a lovely thing to have. And we have all felt the kindness of others during this year and previous years, and we know that will continue. We will continue to work on the garden. We will continue to make it as nice and safe and as welcoming and inclusive an area as we can. We will hold our events. We will hold the Holocaust Memorial Day. We will hold the Earth Hour. We will hold Time to Talk. We will have Remembrance Sunday. We'll have a birthday party. Obviously, that's all dependent on what's happening with the pandemic. But as far as we're concerned, they're on the calendar. They will happen, whether it's virtually or whether it's actually physically. There will be those things happening. We hope to be able to have the puppy parties again, because we are so grateful to the dog walkers who keep an eye in the garden for us, and have been very welcoming of us taking a part of the park. And that's why we have the pet playground, which we hope to get done next year. Obviously, pandemic has delayed things. You'll have noticed that the work has started on the labyrinth. That has been one of our main projects for the garden, and we're so grateful to the Spencer Group for taking that on. When we initially spoke to the Spencer Group, we thought they just wanted to do a litter pick. And when one of their senior people came down and we were just chatting about the plans that we had, they heard the labyrinth and asked more about it, and they've just taken it on. It will take time for that to happen, obviously, because they have their own work and they have a pandemic to tackle as well. So their work will be delayed. But we're in no rush, we're there long term. And we're going to be at the park with the Erskine Community Garden for the foreseeable future. We love what we get from the garden, and we are so in awe of what other people give to the garden and what the garden gives to us. It's a great space. It's, as I said, it's inclusive. We want everyone that goes there to just feel relaxed, as we said, and calm and inclusive, and in a little kind of a break from the other world that's out there, just taking a break, time out. That was part of the reason for the garden, was to give people a break. We can get so caught up in routine and the day-to-day things that we have to deal with that sometimes we forget to just take a break, to stop and just relax. So we hope that's what the garden has achieved and will achieve over the next period of time. Some of you will be aware that the space that the garden is in was not the original space that we wanted. The original space was over in the Parkmains area of Erskine, and we were actually days away from signing a licence for it when it could no longer proceed for whatever reason at the council side. It's not a problem. The council were fantastic and found us where we are now. However, we are aware that that ground is now available, and it is being marked as a surplus to the council's requirements and will be put up for sale. So we have decided, and we have done it, to put in a bid for it. Not a financial bid, more a community bid, to say, like, this is what we'd like to do here, along the same lines as what we have over at the garden as it is just now at Barwood Park, but back to the original plan that we had, which was a heritage and history area for Erskine, there is a lot of history associated with Erskine, which not many people know. It goes back to the 3rd Earl of Lennox, Mary Queen of Scots, the West Indian Trading Company, silk weaving in Paisley, the foundation of Scottish Bible Society, I think it's called, and several other things that, you know, there's history there. There's history that would be fantastic for us to say, this is where Erskine actually does fit in the whole grand scheme of things of Scotland, of Renshire, of Scotland, of the UK, and of the world. We do have a link to a lot of things out there. We'd also like to make it a nice place again, that area, for people as well, just the same as over the other side of the town, with a little bit more maybe of an educational side of, as I said, history and heritage, all sorts of things that would just make it a nice space. And it would kind of be actually quite nice. It would seem balanced, you know, we're having a community garden at the Brigaren end, and then a community garden at the Park Means end. I don't know, maybe it's just, if it happens, it happens. We don't think it will, obviously, but we'd like to think that we will be given a fair hearing. What we would just encourage you to do is keep supporting, keep visiting the garden, keep up with the great and lovely goodwill that you have, and we will try our best to return that in however way we can. We do hope that 2021 is a good year, a year of hope. The first few months are going to be probably challenging as we get used to the vaccine, the new strains of COVID, and everything else that comes with that. Perhaps we're all learning a little bit about patience, so maybe we just have to be patient for the coming year and just keep ourselves safe and look after each other. And on that note, I will wish you a very happy new year. We do hope that everybody has a good next year, and that eventually we can start meeting face to face and holding meditations and holding puppy parties and having a birthday party for the garden, and just returning to our normality that is beneficial for everyone, especially with the well-being and mindfulness of everyone after so much isolation. So happy new year when it comes, and goodbye from all of us for now.